Welcome to the HyperFast Wealth Show. On today's episode, we've got an amazing guest. He has built a real estate empire through using creative ways to buy deals, and we're gonna talk specifically about that today and how he's getting deals with no money down and no personal credit involved. Really amazing strategies. He has gone on to teach these to several 100 agents and investors all across the country. He's written 2 best-selling books, and he got his start, by the way, and we're going to get into this as well, but through extensive cold calling. So he developed that basic prospecting skill through consistent cold calling. Welcome to the show, Zachary Beach. All right, welcome to the show, Zach. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm excited. And by the way, I know before the show you mentioned you're in the middle of a move, so I appreciate you making time to be on here despite being in the middle of moving, which is always a challenge, even for people like you that buy and sell a lot of real estate.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's nothing new. I think I've moved, I don't know, like 5 or 6 times in the last 10 years. I think it's pretty easy at this stage. It's just another day in the life of Zach Beach.
Yeah, well, we've moved quite a lot, my wife and I, and growing up, she moved a lot. I was in the Navy, so I moved a ton, and when you buy and sell a lot of real estate, sometimes that makes you move a lot. So I've definitely had a lifetime of moving, probably with just in a few years.
Well, thank you for your service, Dan. I appreciate that. Because you're in the Navy, I'm sure you visited my area of the world up here in Newport, Rhode Island.
Yeah, I've been there before when I was at the Naval Academy. Actually, we did a summer. I don't know what you call it, but we took
summer class.
Little mini boats that went. We left from Annapolis and went up to New York and Newport.
Nice, love it.
Yeah, Newport's a great town.
Yeah, been down there for about 5 years now, so yeah, absolutely love it. Love New England, but how can you? It's just hard for us real estate investors or people that are in the game to stay content with the houses they have when you can cherry pick sometimes, or you get to see so many. It's hard. I'm sure you can imagine.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, normally for us, a lot of our moves just were kind of unexpected, but it was a good deal came up, and boom. Next thing we're moving when we never even planned it. And I guess being in the profession, you're around it more, do it more, so the friction of doing it is a lot lower and you're getting presented with more opportunities. So
Sure.
Anyway, I know today we've got a lot of great stuff for real estate investors or agents that want to learn how to invest more in real estate. Before we kind of dive into that, why don't you just give folks a little bit about your background? I mean, I know it's pretty impressive, but I'm sure that they'd love to hear from you. Like, how did you get started in investing, and what are you doing now, and kind of what led to that?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so when I was coming out of college, I really had zero idea of what I was going to do. So I started bartending down here in Rhode Island. We were drawn to the area because my wife's parents and my father-in-law and brother-in-law, who now are my business partners, they moved down here. So bartended for about 4 or 5 years, and also personal trained on the side as well. And as you can imagine, I started to get burnt out. I was working real late nights and then working real early mornings. So one day, it was about 5 years ago, I went to my father-in-law, Chris, and said, "Hey, I know you got a real estate investment company. I have no idea if I like real estate, but why don't we give this a try and see if I like it?" Because I had no desire to be involved in real estate. I just knew it was better than what I was doing at the time. And at that point, I went to him. He said, "Yeah, I mean, nothing was promised. We only got paid based on commissions and what we produced. And I just kind of dove in, made calls on the side, cold called for probably the first year or two of my real estate career was just cold calling on either expired listings or for sale by owners and producing deals out of that. And that taught me obviously a lot and advanced my real estate knowledge quite a lot because I really put my feet to the fire. And 5 years later, I mean, we have a thriving real estate investment company, primarily here in Southern New England, where we only buy and sell on terms specifically. So lease options, owner financing, sub-2 deals. And then we have a real estate coaching company, which now we're in over 100 markets, and we help people do exactly what we do, which is be able to create 3 distinctive paydays from each one of our real estate deals. So it's been quite the journey. And I would say the other aspect with the growth and knowledge just came from coaching people. I mean, if you want to learn something, try to teach it to somebody. So that's why I think it's just significantly shortened my learning curve in my short real estate career. But I still got a lot to learn.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate form of mastery is to be able to teach other people the skill or the technique. And you mentioned something that I think we should just clarify a little, because I think a lot of real estate agents maybe don't know about this or even that it's out there, but buying on terms. So I'm guessing you're getting into a lot of deals with little or no money down and kind of seller financed or other variations, but what is buying on terms?
Yeah. So our primary rule book when it comes to buying and selling on terms are don't use your own cash, don't use your own credit, don't ask investors for money, and don't personally sign on anything. The reason why we kind of created this rule book was because my father-in-law, who's been involved in real estate for over 30 years now, I got crushed in '08. So didn't have the ability to bring any of those things to the table. And then clearly when I say I come from a bartending background, it's not that I had any credit or money or anything to invest in these types of deals either. So it was, hey, how can we create deals without breaking those rules? And so we buy a lot of our properties on lease options, owner financing, you mentioned, and properties subject to the existing loan, meaning we're closing on the property, acknowledging that there's a mortgage, and then and taking title. So that'd be more of an ownership type position. So those are the primarily ways we do it, and been able to successfully do it, hundreds, if not thousands of times now nationally.
And what, are you buying all over the place? Or are you coaching people how to buy, in different markets, or both? Or like, what is your real estate, acquisition strategy and holdings look like today?
Yeah, good question. We pride ourselves in the fact that we still do absolutely everything that we teach, because that's what actually keeps us to the very cutting edge, and that's what allows us to actually coach the best. So we still have a buying and selling entity here in Rhode Island. We also buy in Massachusetts and Connecticut, because Rhode Island is literally the small state in the United States, so you have to be able to cross lines. So we typically buy about 2 to 4 properties a month with our small team here in the area. But then we also have over 100 people nationally and growing that have their own LLCs that we help buy and sell real estate with them. So we're in all major markets right now: Florida, California, up in the Pacific Northwest, all the way down to Texas, to the Midwest, so all the way up to the Northeast. So we're in pretty much every single market that you could possibly think of, and are dealing with almost every single nuance you could possibly think of.
And what are like the ways right now that you're helping other people do this? So I think you mentioned, you got students everywhere, but how do you, how do people learn from you about?
Yes, so we got multiple different ways in order to get involved with us. We start with what do we call our QLS, Quantum Leap System. It's a home study course, but it has absolutely everything that you could possibly ask for, including our contracts, modules that are very specific on how to structure each one of our different types of methods, and fully self-taught. And it's fully updated yearly because it's online, so we have the ability to do that. And then we have other ways to get involved, such as through either group coaching or individual coaching, what we call our associates, where we actually partner with them in the trenches in order to help them create deals. And then we split deals together. Now, the reason why we looked at this model in particular is because we've been through so many different real estate programs, and we've had so many people come to us that have been through other real estate programs, and they didn't get the results they wanted. So we looked at two things that made the most sense to get people to where they wanted, and that is, number one, full immersion. So we support you with a coach that can jump on calls with sellers, buyers, deal structuring, three-way calls, attorneys, whatever you need to get done. And then also a community of people. All of our students across the country that are involved in our program are connected. They get to communicate with each other and work deals with each other. And then the next thing is immediate feedback. So by getting immediate feedback from the community and your coach, you're able to advance significantly faster. And that's why we've been able to help people across the country get properties under contract within, say, the first 30 days, 90 days of being involved in our program, because of those aspects. So it's real important to us. Our purpose for our company is to empower individuals and families to create the life of their dreams. So it's so very important to us that we actually help people create their goals, and then not only become operators of their business, but eventually become the CEOs and be able to impact hundreds, if not thousands of lives just in their local market.
And are your acquisitions and what you're teaching, are they typically properties that are going to cash flow and that people would hold for many years, or is it things you get at a good deal and then you sell it a year or two later? Like what's the bigger, kind of overall strategy there of how you make money on your deals?
Yeah. Let's break it down then. So yeah, we purchase properties on those three primarily acquisition strategies, which is buying on lease options, owner financing, or subject to. And what we're doing is we're helping out sellers or be able to solve a problem here because we can usually help sellers net more money from their actual properties or their asset as long as they have the ability to wait for their equity, because we're not going to come in with a cash sale. What we are going to do is lock down a price or set amount of equity and then take over full responsibility of the property for a period of time and then cash them out. So the acquisition strategy is through those methods. So that way we're not personally signing on anything, but the seller is actually able to get their purchase price that they're hoping for because there's no any type of commissions or anything like that. So if I'm sitting there speaking to, say, a real estate agent, I'm sitting there saying, you have plenty of deals in which are going to expire for one reason or another. Even the best ones in the entire world, I know I do. And I know it for a fact because I train a lot of them. And so you have deals about to expire. So you go to a seller. So say you get a property under contract that's about to expire, and you say, "Hey, look, for some reason the market is stating that we can't sell it either at this price." Me and you, I both know that typically it's price, and you just can't convince the seller. And you say, "Hey, I can actually buy this property for this price. I just need time, and that's how I'm going to buy it through a lease option or owner financing." So we've structured so many deals where we actually have paid realtor referral fees for minimal, but the fact is those deals end up producing roughly $75,000 all three paydays. So that's the important size. Yes, it is. It could be a long-term strategy. Depends on your exit strategy, but we're still going to buy them the exact same way. So then let's talk about the backside of it, which is how do we sell them? Because that's where you're going to make your money. So most real estate deals, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, most real estate deals produce one distinctive cash payday is what we would call it, which means like a wholesale deal. You get paid once. A real estate commission, you get paid once. What our deals do is they create three distinctive paydays when we sell it to our buyers, typically on a rent to own. That's usually our exit strategy, either rent to own or on owner financing, but we're actually owner finance the deal. So we get paid first up front, a non-refundable deposit, which is usually anywhere from 3 to 10% of the overall purchase price. Our second payday is the cash flow that we're getting. We're not landlords. Our buyers are 100% responsible for the property, so we're going to get that cash flow. And then the back end in the next, say, 3 to 5 years is a typical time frame when the buyer actually goes and qualifies for a loan, because our buyers typically just need time in order to get financing. That's when we get paid our third payday. And if you look at nationally, It ranges anywhere from say $50,000 all 3 paydays to over $250,000 in some of the bigger markets in some of these owner financing deals. So I know I kind of did a broad stroke here, but I wanted to try to be able to cover every aspect of the 10,000-foot view.
Yeah, no, I think you did a great job of showing that, and I think a lot of real estate agents probably have access to these kinds of deals. They just really don't know about the mechanics of this, or how to structure it, or how to find that buyer. But I'm sure there's a lot of them out there, like people that have some money, but for whatever reason can't get a bank loan. It's getting very, very hard to get these anyway, nowadays. So I think there's a lot of opportunity and most agents just don't know about this.
Yeah, let me give you a very specific story. So up here in Connecticut, we had a property. We have a friend of ours now, and we've done some referrals back and forth. He's a licensed agent, and he had this property under contract, and these happen to be out-of-state owners. They were actually in the military, and they moved down to Alabama. So they had this house sitting up there, and they were trying to sell it for, I don't know, probably approaching 180 days. And for one reason or another, I think it just maybe have been, flow of the property, and maybe they just couldn't get the price they're looking for. So he referred him to us and said, because he went to the people and said, look, it's about to expire. I really want to make sure that I'm like doing all the best that I can to service you. And so I actually have this great family company that buys properties that I wasn't able to sell for one reason or another. So he put his ego aside, really, and then forwarded him to us. And we actually ended up structuring a 36-month lease purchase agreement. So again, agreed upon the price with the seller. We took over 100% responsibility of the property. And then on or before 36 months, we'll cash them out, paying off their mortgage and the equity locked in. We ended up turning around and selling that property within, say, 35 days to a tenant buyer who just needed some time in order to qualify for a loan. That total paydays ended up being just over $78,000. So I say this, and I've spoken to a lot of real estate agent audiences, and I said, look, that realtor gave up almost 80 grand worth of profit in a really lucrative investment because he didn't know how to structure it. So if you have the ability to, just because you're in front of so many more people, you almost have the advantage over us real estate investors, because you're already inside people's homes and you're already presenting different options to people. So now it's just having the ability to have one more tool in your toolbox to say, look, I can be your real estate agent here, and I can take it to market at this, or we can structure and you can pay me a commission, or I can structure a deal where I can buy your property with one of these different options, and I can pay you this, or this is the option that we could go forward. And then you pick or choose which best fits you as the seller.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think as a real estate agent, you hit the nail on the head. Like, you have the advantage over the typical investor, just because you're naturally in front of more sellers and more buyers, so you're going to get more, opportunities, more at bats. What would your biggest piece of advice be to a real estate agent out there that has a great real estate business, but maybe hasn't started down the investing road? Like, how would they get started to doing something like this?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll relate back to my business partner and father-in-law. He had a brokerage for 18 years. He was doing 100 homes a year. Never did a single terms deal during that time frame. He ended up doing terms deals until probably 10 years later, and these types of transactions. So my biggest piece of advice is, now that you've heard it, let's not let that slip past your ear, and let's take at least some sort of action. We provide so much free content to at least to wet your whistle, to say, hey, is this a good option for me to become the real estate investment side? Because all of us know, look, if you're doing whether you're doing 10 homes a year or 100 homes a year, when January 1st comes back around, you have to do another 10 or 100 homes a year in order to maintain that level of commission. It's just, there's no there's no pathway other than, in my opinion, real estate investing that takes you off, the rabbit hole, or it takes you off the treadmill
The
here.
treadmill, yeah, hamster
Yeah,
wheel.
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It's been quite the week here. Words are hard sometimes. So it takes you off the hamster wheel. So you can still, I know a lot of people that love being real estate agents, and I applaud you because we need good ones. And I don't want to say I love these type recession type markets, but what it does do from an outside perspective is it takes away, the dabbling real estate agent, and it puts in like who's actually the professional real estate agent, and those are the ones that thrive, which is exciting. So if you are one of them, then I applaud you. But you can do that and service your clients and still be able to put yourself in a position where you and your family can grow their wealth. So I would just say, now that the information's there, dive in further, figure out if terms or some other way of investing makes sense for you, and start investing on the side. That way, one day you can get off the treadmill, and that way you can just become a real estate agent for fun.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think there's, this is an area that most real estate agents can improve on, and not only that, like if you're able to start buying homes on terms, I think you're going to be able to provide more solutions to your clients and potential clients. Like if someone can't get the price they want for their home and it's going to expire, rather than let them pull it off the market and not get the result they want, like this is just another way to offer a solution for them to get what they want. So maybe if they have the ability to delay that, that sale, or to not get the equity or cash now, you're able to at least guarantee them their price, right? I mean, it's just all about having multiple solutions to offer, different types of clients.
Oh, 100%. And we spoke a lot to agents. I just know that there's a lot of agents that follow you in your community here. So, but if you're not an agent and you're a real estate investor, I mean, these all come into exactly the same play. If you're a wholesaler right now listening to this, I can bet you that there's probably 100 deals that you've already passed up because of your, what's fitting inside your box that counts as a good wholesale deal that you can now pivot to a terms deal, right? Specifically, let's talk about a property that comes across your desk that has little to no equity in the property. Well, if it's a wholesale, most likely a wholesale would say that's not a deal. I have no room to be able to create some spread. But from a terms investor, I say, oh, great. Well, we can buy that property subject to the existing loan and do a long-term 5, 10, 20, 30-year deal on this, because we have the time in order to wait for the principal to pay down on that house and appreciation to happen in the market. We're more than okay with that. And while that's happening, we'll cash flow it. So there's so many different ways that you can maneuver and negotiate different types of deals if you have these other tools in your toolbox. And then one other thing you brought up, which was, look, we're in the midst of probably the craziest thing that's happened in this world for a long time. And when COVID hit, our business actually accelerated, and our associates around the country business accelerated, because we're now put in a world in which people need new creative solutions in order to get these things done. Let's even look at just some other basic segments or niche style markets. Let's talk about jumbo loans. And I know you're more involved than I am as far as from a real estate agent perspective, but jumbo loans are becoming fewer and farther between now, and they're asking for a lot more reserves. You're looking for at least 6 to 12 months now worth of reserves. You need at least 20% down. So banks are tightening on all aspects, but specifically just looking at jumbo loans right now. I'll tell you a story about a guy out in Colorado. We had this seller had a property under contract with a buyer, was selling it traditionally to the market. The bank denied him because he only had 6 months of reserves and he needed 12. So we actually ended up, after that deal died, we ended up buying the property on a lease purchase, put it out to the market. The same buyer came back to us and said, hey, I still want to tie up this property. I love the fact that I can use your program to bank up my reserves, and that way I can go get my own loan during the time in which I live in the property. So now you have the same buyer that failed through traditional means that now is using our program in order to get his loan and get financing together, and still gets to live in the house and be in the property in which he originally wanted to be in. So that's just one story of the things that are happening now. But real estate investors, we are in a position right now that we're going to be able to service way more people than we would have originally, just because of the circumstances of the market right now. People are looking for more creative options. And if you have these tools, then you're going to be put in a really good position.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think, I think you got to just weigh the objectives. And you kind of hinted at this, like if the person's price has like little or no equity and you just structure it to be longer, right? You're like, all right, I'll still do that deal, but I need a 5 or 7 or even 10-year runway. And in the meantime, you're making money from the renter or the lease to own guy that you put in there. So I think there's, you just have so much more flexibility and so many more buttons that you can, or levers that you can adjust if you learn how to do this.
Oh, and the longer term deals, the better. I mean, there's more profit in the longer term deals. So I'm always looking for that, because most people ask me on like these types of shows and say, okay, well, what happens if the market tanks? And you have these long-term deals with lease purchasers in it, or tenant buyers in the property. They say the best thing to do now is to be trying to buy as many properties on owner financing as possible. And when I say owner financing, I want to niche down even further. I want to say that these are free and clear homes. Clearly, and roughly through the United States, it's about a third of the United States actually has free and clear homes, especially in very specific pockets. So you have buyers or sellers that have equity in homes that do not need them, because if they did, they would have refied or sold it for less, because they don't have anything to wait against. So yeah, buying owner financing deals, we structure specifically principal only payments, not interest only, principal only payments. So we're able to significantly leverage ourselves against the market by getting huge principal pay down. So you get a $500,000 house you're buying, and you get say $1,000 just to make it easy, principal only payment. Plus you have to pay the rest of the responsibilities. But you get every single year, you get 12 grand coming off the principal every single year. So the longer the term, the more principal pay down, you hedge yourself against the market. It doesn't matter if it slopes down, you're still fine. And then the other thing is get as long a term deals as possible. If you're getting 7-10-year deals, we both know that we would have already gone through a real estate market cycle. So we're back to a point in which we're secure again and sell it at that time.
Yeah, I agree. I think, more agents need to try this and learn from people like you. And we'll at the end of the show here, we'll let listeners know how they can connect with you and get involved in some of the things you're doing. But before we do that, I want to do our hyper fast round. If you're ready for some rapid fire questions and answers.
I'll put my hat on back because I'm ready for you, my man.
All right, man. Get the hat on backwards. Let's go. What's the biggest piece of advice you'd give to a new real estate investor?
Biggest piece of advice. I would say avoid the bad deals, meaning it's the bad deals that you have to think about that keep you up at night. It's not the good deals. It's not the great deals. Actually, it's when you have to deal with the bad deals. I always recommend, hey, don't be overzealous. Wait for the right deals to come down the pipeline, especially in my niche, because they pay really well, and it's the ones that I don't have to worry about are the ones I want to keep my good portfolio. So I would say avoid the bad deals as best possible. I know it's simple, but avoid them as best.
No, it's a good one. I mean, yeah, discipline is key. What's the biggest piece of advice you'd give to a real estate agent in today's market?
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered it quite often. Again, I'm not a real estate agent, so I'm just talking from knowing and or teaching them. And that is just do your best to be able to service all your clients. So if the more tools and the more understanding, even if you don't feel as though this is the best real estate niche for you, I just think the more knowledge you have about every single other piece of real estate investing, I just put you in a better position to be able to service your client and be able to point people in the right direction. So even if you don't want to do this, then find somebody in your local market that you know and trust that can handle these types of things. So that way you can create different deals, things that you probably wouldn't originally.
What's the biggest challenge you've ever had in real estate, and how'd you overcome it?
Yeah, I wouldn't even just consider it real estate. I would say the biggest challenge that I've always had was mindset. Coming from a single mother, didn't really have financial knowledge or anything like that, and dealing with different paradigms that come with it. I would say just from an entrepreneurial standpoint, and now coached over hundreds of people that are brand new entrepreneurs, that is the mindset is the hardest thing to overcome. And there's abundance out there, and it's dealing with not only that or working with that, but also the entrepreneurial skills that come with it, the frustrations, the ups and the downs. Being a real estate agent, especially full time, as an entrepreneur, it's hard. It's always hard. And entrepreneurship is, you get paid well because it's not easy.
What would we find you doing when you're not working on your business or coaching people?
When am I not working with the business or coaching people? No, just playing. I hang out. I spend a lot of time with my family. I got 2 young kids, 2 under 3 years old, and my wife. I like to hang out with my family. You'll find me in the woods. I live down here on the coast, but I always try to find my way to the woods. I like hiking and enjoying outdoor activities. That definitely keeps me peace of mind. That way I can take on the world each week.
All right, and last one. Where do you see yourself 5 years from
now? I'd say this on a lot of the podcasts, and I see myself as a thought leader in business growth in general, in personal development, not just in real estate. I love real estate. I think it creates wealth for everyone. But as I was alluding to earlier, it's all the little things that you have to have in place in order to be a successful entrepreneur with any business.
All right, Zach. Well, thank you for playing the HyperFast round. You survived, did well. Thanks for being on the show. Before we sign off, why don't you tell folks how they can connect with you, how they can find out more about your coaching and classes and all that great stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dan. I hope I brought your audience some value here. Maybe I always say there's 2 different ways of thinking. There's one to expand upon the knowledge you already have, and then the second way of learning really is to completely shift your mindset in general. And I hope I was able to do that with many of you guys here with this real estate niche. Best way to find me is smartrealestatecoach.com. You can get a free strategy call. Either myself or my father-in-law, Chris, will hop on the call with you. And that's smartrealestatecoach.com/action. It's just 6 simple steps to book the call, and we'll dive in and be able to evaluate your business and see where we can implement it. We also have 2 Amazon best-selling books out there as well. We're actually doing a revise of our original one, and you can get those at freesrecbook.com. That's freesrecbook.com, and newrulesforfree.com. Be able to get the PDFs from those. With COVID, we haven't been able to ship them out, but we definitely would be happy to get you those copies for free.
All right. Well, check out the free books if you're listening to this. Book a strategy call. Put some new tools in your tool belt if you're listening out there. I think Zach offers a lot of great ways to offer more solutions to your clients and start building income that isn't gonna go away if you want to stop working. So that's the kind of the cool thing I think about what we've talked today. So thank you, Zach, for all that you've offered our listeners today. I really appreciate it, and I know you brought a ton of value. And if you guys are out there listening, please take action. Don't just listen to these ideas and let it slip by the wayside. I think that the biggest thing you can do is to start taking action right now. Anything else, Zach, before we sign off here?
No, I mean, you nailed it on the head. Take action. I was just like slipping off into the distance. That was perfect. Yeah, guys, exactly what Dan said. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you for taking your time. I know we all have the same amount of hours each and every day, so I appreciate you spending some time with me today. And make sure that you make sure that tomorrow you're a better you.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, Zach. For everyone out there listening or watching on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. If you want to see more videos like this, click right here. And if you're new to the channel, click below to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out. And let me know in the comments what you think about the videos. I'll see you next time.